G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder with Mags, and welcome aboard the Macchi C.205N2. This is rank 4, battle rating 4.7. This aircraft's armed with three 20mm Mk.II with 750 rounds of ammunition, and we're armed with two 12.7mm Breda machine guns with 800 rounds. So, first things first, I need to talk a little bit about this plane in regards to its upgrades. This is not a review, please do not take this as a review. This aircraft is about half done in terms of upgrades. I have the performance line progressed directly down from the radiator to the engine. I have both the belts unlocked, but I still don't have the fuel injection system, the cowling. By an accident, I'm actually researching the fuselage repair in this match, but it's meant to be doing the fuel injection. As I said, I have the belts unlocked, but I don't have the cannon upgrades unlocked at this time. But I still do have a pretty solid feeling about this aircraft, and this is one that I thought was going to, well, I thought it was going to wreck really hard off what I saw on the dev server. But now, having actually flown it around, this plane, well, it's not bad. It's not a bad plane in the slightest, but it's not a fantastic plane either. I guess the best way to describe this aircraft is a jack of all trades but master of none. But anyways, what was the N2 variant of the C.205? The N2 was one of two prototypes that were built, the N1 and the N2. Both of these were designed to be high altitude aircraft. And for the most part, they reflect that in War Thunder. They hit their max speed at an altitude of around 21,000 feet. That being said, however, its max speed at that altitude is not particularly high. Remember, this is a 4.7 aircraft. This is a plane that gets slotted up against Griffon Spitfires and P-51Ds. P-51Ds are the same battle rating, and this thing can face everything up to battle rating 5.7 fighters. Now, the lower top speed wouldn't be an issue if its acceleration was particularly good, but it's not really all that great either. It's actually quite sluggish to accelerate out of a dive. That being said, it does handle okay at altitude. However, it doesn't handle as good as everything else that it can potentially face, or at least some of what it can potentially face. And this is what I mean by this aircraft being a jack of all trades, master of none. It's not particularly bad in any area, but it's not fantastic in any area either. It doesn't do anything badly, it just doesn't do anything well. The only area this aircraft has any real oomph behind it is in its firepower department. Three MG-151s with 750 rounds of ammunition and the two 12.7mm Bredas with 800 rounds is a lot of firepower out the front. I don't particularly like the Breda guns, but with that much screwed into the front of the aircraft, it doesn't matter. If you hit something center on, it just melts in this configuration. Now, that being said, as I mentioned before, this aircraft is not fully spaded yet. However, I don't expect that the fuel injection system and the engine cowling cover is going to increase the performance by enough to really change this assessment. As a high altitude fighter, I just constantly find the aircraft is outclassed. That, however, is not where I tend to fight with this plane anymore. I take this thing low. This aircraft historically was designed to operate at high altitudes. The problem is in War Thunder with mouse aim and all the accuracy that comes with it, as well as having total awareness around you at all times due to the third person view, it's extremely hard to compete with this aircraft in that environment. Things like the Spitfire will just rip you to pieces. However, if you get the MC205 low, even not fully upgraded, at this point I don't have the wings upgrade yet either, I can nearly maintain turns with all of these Spitfires, providing I use my angles and my flaps properly. Now, this doesn't mean don't take altitude. What I've been doing is pretty much what you saw here at the start of this match. I take altitude at the start and I cruise around looking for a fight at around 10,000 feet or above. However, if I see a swarm that is on low altitude, I pick the highest level aircraft in that swarm, engage it, and then work my way down to the ground. Now, at this point, I've just slapped the hell out of this Spitfire Mark 18E, waiting for him on the turn back. At this point, a P-51D and two additional Spitfires have fallen in on me, almost the entirety of that group you saw before, and here come the Spitfires. We turn around, dodge underneath the Spits. We have a third Spit approaching in from the rear. He wants to go head on. Long range burst and bank out. Not a particularly skillful kill, but that eliminates my second aircraft of the match, and at this point I am now in a manoeuvring fight with 2 Spitfires and a P-51 approaching as well. Now I am overheating the engine here. This is a problem the aircraft does have. It's among one of 2 issues that I don't particularly like with the plane. If you abuse the WEP heavily in this aircraft, it will overheat. That being said, once you back the throttles off, as I'm about to here on this rollover to drop in on this Spitfire 6, you'll notice the temperatures fall very rapidly, and if you do not abuse the WEP, you won't overheat at all, even on Sicily, which is one of the warmer maps. The second issue I have with the aircraft, and I'm sure those of you who are watching closely would have noticed it already, this aircraft does not roll down its center axis. It's another one of those aircraft that rolls off center, which makes leading the guns in a maneuvering fight actually quite difficult because, well, this is probably a poor time to talk about that, because that is my 3rd kill. Anyways, getting back to the point. The guns in a maneuvering fight, as you're rolling the aircraft back and forth, it will jiggle the gun sight in a sort of a curve rather than just being a smooth rotation down where you're aiming the guns. This will constantly throw off your aim. If the enemy aircraft is maneuvering hard enough that you have to roll the plane a lot, it will constantly throw your guns off target, which makes really fine shooting a little bit awkward in this plane. That said, if you can get the enemy into a smooth turn, you can quite easily lock the guns up and take lead, as you just saw. Anyways, the P-51 decided, since I've killed 3 Spitfires at this point, that he is probably not going to win a turn fight with me and banks out of the area. I saw the P-47 up ahead and was intending to go after it, but it's already been chewed to pieces by the rest of my team, and down he goes. So we have to do a bit of a low pass in, and I'm basically going to spend the rest of my cannon ammo at this point blowing the hell out of the artillery guns and AAA that are floating around here, because that P-51 and a single second aircraft that will crash shortly are the last 2 planes on the enemy team. By the time I get back to base and pick up a repair in this plane, this match is going to be pretty much all over. So rather than just drag the match out with me strafing the hell out of a few ground targets and then flying back to the runway, let's go through and check out the results. So, the results for this match: we came in on 2nd place for the team with 3 kills, 4 ground target kills and 1 assist. Awards included Rank Does Not Matter, Fighter Rescuer, Double Strike X2, Shadow Strike Streak X3, Soft Landing for a little bit of a nose drag on the runway, and Balancer. And we came in with 68,992 Silver Lions, 7,230 Vehicle Research Points, with 5,092 Modifications Research. And that completed my fuselage repair, which was actually an accidental research. I was meant to be working on the fuel injection system. So, overall not a bad match. A very small, very short, intense moment of combat in the center, and then a breakaway. And that's really the kind of situation that I've had the best luck grinding this plane in. As I said, the aircraft itself, there's nothing incredibly wrong with how it performs at altitude. It's just the aircraft that it's facing at this battle rating that are designed to fight at altitude are significantly better at what they do, and leave the 205N2 outclassed. Thankfully, while it was designed to perform extremely well at high altitudes in real life, here in War Thunder it does make up for that lack of performance against its battle rating while having some exceptional turning capabilities at low altitudes. It's almost a match for a Spitfire, and can be a match if the pilot knows what he's doing in regards to the roll and how to use and work the combat flaps in order to be able to tighten those turns up. In a standing turn, the Spitfire is actually slightly faster and will win the engagement in the long run. However, it's close enough. Against things like a Mustang at low altitudes or a P-47, if any American pilots are silly enough to go and ground pound and then try and engage you in a turn fight, you will hand their own ass to them on a silver platter. That's just the way it's going to happen. That being said, with that off-center roll, it's still not ideal for this kind of fighting. You're sort of making the aircraft do something that it's not really built for. Which is why I said at the start of the video that this aircraft feels like a bit of a jack of all trades but master of none. It's just not quite there in any one particular area, but it doesn't do anything horribly. which is probably going to work out really well for inexperienced players because it's an aircraft that doesn't have any real weaknesses across the board. There's no area where it performs badly, just no particular area where it's truly outstanding. Anyways, ladies and gents, as I said earlier on in this video, this is not a review, this is just an assessment at this time. I will come back and revisit this aircraft again once I've completed the Spade and flown a few missions with this aircraft fully upgraded to really see how it handles in the long run. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video, thank you very much for watching, and sorry about the delay recently. Some personal issues have actually held up my ability to make videos, but we should be back on track now. I will have a rundown under in the next couple of days. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, and remember to click that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I will catch you in the skies.